Hi there, it's Dr. Brenda, Money Coach, coming at you from a campground. It's the Northwest Chicago KOA. The only activity here seems to be from the mosquitoes. A couple of RVs here, but everything is shut down. No water in the swimming pool. It's everything is shut down. So playgrounds, no kids around, very, very quiet. I'm here just for one night. I decided it would be smart to spend a night and rest before continuing on to Indiana Dunes State Park. I had to navigate through the freeways in and around Milwaukee, and then I came in on the west side of Chicago. I'm in rural Illinois. It's a place called Union. I'm probably an hour away from downtown Chicago. So it's been 5.5 hours of driving, and it's time to rest. It's a good thing I'm not staying here more than one day. It's just an overnighter. I rented a pull-through, so I don't even have to unhitch. Tomorrow I can just take off and reach my destination. But Illinois has been really strict in terms of COVID, which is a good thing. But if you're here to camp and to enjoy the facilities, it's not such a good thing. So we're all practicing social distancing, wearing masks if we come into contact with somebody. But it's like I said, for one night it's fine. I was hoping to rest and use the bathhouse, and that's even closed. So it'll have to wait until tomorrow. Anyway, let me tell you a bit about traveling in the Northeast, because I had made plans in January and February and had a route planned with the highlight being Acadia National Park in Maine. My reservation was, and notice I said was August 2nd. The park is still closed. It's mid-July, park is closed. Expects to be open August 1st, but it looks as if there's not a lot open around there. I have like 3 or 4 days after leaving Acadia where I had hoped to spend some time in Maine. I'm not finding RV campgrounds or resorts being very open. Maine has the strictest requirements. You have to show a negative COVID results 72 hours prior to entering the state, or you have to do a 14-day self-quarantine. So it's really strict, and I decided, also I've been on the go a lot, so I canceled my Maine plans. So I'm disappointed to see it go, but I understand, Maine's efforts to protect its citizens. Traveling in the Northeast, planning in the Northeast during COVID summer has been quite the challenge. So let me tell you about my experiences. I had booked a campground, a resort in Vermont for 8 days. And since my main plans fell through, I talked to them about extending it. I've got one night where I have to move to another campground because they were booked solid, and then I'll return to that same resort. So I'll be in Vermont for 19 days. Vermont is a little bit looser. They expect you to self-quarantine for 7 days. You can go out then and get a COVID test, which doesn't look like it's very easy to do, at least not in the area of Vermont where I'll be staying. A lot of them require a physician's note, or that you display some symptoms, or you can document exposure. And that so far is, I don't have any of those issues, which is a good thing, but it may not be easy to get a COVID test, and it's a question of who pays for it. How that gets done is another thing. So I am just coming from Door County. I bought a bunch of dried soup mixes. So I'm like, okay, if I've got to quarantine, I can make my soup. I can still hopefully walk around on the trails and enjoy the Vermont outdoors. So we'll see how that goes, but I extended that stay. I did call the owner of the resort just to find out, make sure that I was going to be in compliance. I want to honor, Vermont's desire to keep travelers away, or to at least limit our contact with Vermonters. So I'm cognizant of that. That led to some additional plans. So now that my route to Maine was canceled, I had to do some overnight stays. And so in New York State, I contacted a campground. I used an online forum, and I entered my Florida mailing address, and I was told, nope, we're off limits to people from Florida. I contacted them again, and I said, that is my mailing address. I still have Virginia plates on my RV, and on my Jeep I have a Virginia driver's license. And they're like, okay, that's much better. Tell us where you're coming from. I said, I'm coming from Ohio. And they said, okay, then we can take your reservation. Each place I think that I'm going to end up in the Northeast has some type of papers that I need to sign showing that I'm going to be in compliance. So with their rules. I also had an additional overnight stay in Pennsylvania. Contacted them as well. And again, my Virginia plates did me well there, because I've got one night coming back from Vermont in Pennsylvania. So it's pretty difficult too, because the other, I understand most people are like, stay home. Well, I don't have a home, so I'm doing the best I can do to limit my exposure and to limit others' exposures, although I did just spend time with family. So I spent time with my mom and my sister and my nephew and nephew and niece. So hopefully that will be okay. We tried to maintain distance as much as we could, except for my mom and my sister. We were in the RV together for 4 days. It went great, by the way, but yeah, 3 people and 3 cats in the RV. It went great. So anyway, if you're planning on traveling to the Northeast, things are changing weekly. So Vermont might like my Virginia plates, but they might not like the county from which has my driver's license. So they're doing it county by county. So every week changes depending on the latest statistics, the latest rates of infection for whatever county you were housed in. So this has been, Illinois, like I said, has been strict. I have to tell you that my worst experience came in Wisconsin. The state has sort of reneged on its willingness, leadership to dictate state policy, so they left it up to the counties. Dane County, which is Madison, did a pretty good job. Most people in masks, outdoor seating. I just got back from Door County, which is a high tourist end, and the restaurants did a really good job, outdoor seating. Eliminating, making sure that tables were spaced far apart, or that some of the tables were empty. Most people wore masks. Many required masks in the store, so Door County did really well. And then I was in the central part of the state, Marathon County, which very few have mask policies, but I took my nephew to a restaurant, and it's called like Blue Willow Restaurant in Wausau, Wisconsin. They took no precautions, absolutely none. No plexiglass between the cashier, no plexiglass between the booths, and they filled the place up. I was there early, so it wasn't too busy. By the time we left, not only was it full, maximum capacity, but they had people waiting in the restaurant to get seated. So they are just asking for trouble. I was glad to leave that restaurant, and again, it's the worst that I have been in. I started in Virginia, went into Tennessee, stopped in Kentucky, spent time in Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and by far that was one of my worst experiences. So be careful out there. Always take a mask with you. If you have to eat out, try to do takeout or carry out. And I'm kind of looking forward to having some time now where I can see somebody's coming by and they've got the mask on, so they've done a really good job here of requiring masks. So take care of yourself, and protect others. If you are on the road, do your research in advance, find out what each state requires, talk to the folks at the campground, and then in many of these places, don't expect any of the amenities to be open. You want to go for a dip, not possible here. So anyway, be careful. If you want to follow along on my journey, please subscribe. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.